Hi everyone. So this is the first video on the second channel. So before we get into the video, I just want to explain what's going on here. There's a lot of content like this that has never felt like it's really fit on the main channel. So I've created this second channel that's largely going to be unedited, that's going to be stream highlights and stuff like this that doesn't really fit with the edited content that exists on the main channel. For a long time, videos like this I've wanted to put on the main channel, but haven't really found a good place for them. And I came to the conclusion that I don't think that there is a good place for it. So that's what this channel is going to be. It's just going to be stream highlights, discussion stuff, things like this. Basically, just your daily uploads of whatever I've got going on. So, patch just dropped, and this video is going to be my first reaction to the patch notes. Haven't looked at these yet. You could probably tell I just got out of the shower so that I look more presentable while doing this. So, let's get into it here. Let me swap over scenes, and I clearly didn't prepare for this. That is the game, so that you can see Fakenram's ugly face. We don't want to see any of that. There we go. All right, so all the preliminary stuff, yeah, all of this, no one cares. Mainly because it's already been downloaded. The update's already here. That's what I'm trying to say. Yeah, impact, blah, 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 blah. We already know that. Downloadable content, Fakenram is added. Moving on, battle stage pack pixels. Oh boy. Hope there aren't performance drops on this stage like the other ones. Yeah, general access, Tekken shop, fight pass round 6 has been added. We're not going to be able to look at that until after the maintenance ends. So it's been a while since there's been a fight pass, though. It feels like it's been ages since they've had a new fight pass. Yeah, there's the collaboration pack with Atelier Yumina, not Yumina, Yumiya. Yeah, this was bad. This just looked bad. The slime is like fine, but the little hair thing, I think it's called an ahegao, I think, looks terrible. And it's not just because it's kind of lazy, but also when you were looking at it in the little demo they were doing in the Tekken talk, it's a static like item. It doesn't flow like hair. It doesn't have any movement. It just sits there and it's static like this, like a twig. It doesn't move around with the head. It's in a fixed spot, and it doesn't matter if the head's going backwards or forwards. It won't actually follow the character model properly. It's just a stick that's made to look like hair. It's terrible. Yeah, it's unfortunate too, because you see the outfit that the main character has in this game, and you think, oh, that would actually look kind of cool in Tekken if they added it like Clive's stuff. I haven't played Final Fantasy 16, so I don't remember the character name. I think Jill. But when they added that with Clive, that stuff was really cool. So it's a shame that they didn't do that. But, you know, it is what it is. Avatar skin Fakenram, and it's on sale for 100 Tekken coins. I don't know who would want that. I mean, to be fair, maybe if you're from Thailand or something, they've obviously spent a lot of attention on how he looks from a traditional standpoint. The items that are on sale, I know that Elisa's Tekken 6 outfit is on sale. I'll probably end up buying that in the event I ever play Elisa again. Tekken Fight Lounge. Players in the lounge list added and pound displaying. The players in the lounge list will be added to the lounge menu. Can you teleport to them? Because you can do this in... I know Guilty Gear Strive. I don't know about other Oxys games because I don't use the lobby in them at all, really. But I would hope that being able to do this allows you to just teleport to them. That would make so many things so much easier. But probably not. That's probably outside their budget. New feature, message board added. Ooh, boy. Allows avatars to display a message above their heads while playing matches or waiting for matchmaking. Messages can be freely entered or selected from set phrases and stamps. Display messages can be viewed by approaching the avatar. Checking the players in the lounge list can be used for various purposes, such as finding practice partners or recruiting friends. Honestly, pretty nice feature. I don't really use the lounge outside of doing viewer games, so I don't have much of a purpose for this, but it is going to be nice if you're in the lounge and you're sitting down with someone just playing games to like have a message above your head that says something along the lines of like we're playing a long set or something along those lines, so you know someone isn't like waiting for someone else to get off a cabinet or something like that. I don't know. Just a thought. But either way, it's a nice feature. Oh, yeah, here we go. Warp to player added. Allows players to move near a specific player. That is so nice. From the friends list on the lounge settings screen, select move near this player and place you near the selected player when entering the lounge. Additionally, opening the lounge menu and selecting move near this player from the players in the lounge menu. Perfect. That's just what I said. That's nice. Preset phrases and stamp features updated. Those will be added to the chat window. Sure. Search function, select phrase. Yeah, so just some quality of life things. Oh, yeah. So, example, looking for opponents and they're like a Fusion ranked player. Or they're saying that they would like to play against certain level players. Okay, yeah, that's neat. Ghost behavior adjusted. Sure. I like with how much they're going in on this ghost thing. Hold on, let me take a sip of water. I can't help but think that they really are prototyping this for the next Tekken game or maybe a fighting game that they're making, Soul Calibur 7, anyone. Because they are really confident and adamant about this technology. There are a lot of things with this game, or just really in general. Hold on, let me move this a little bit. Sorry, a bit scuffed. That they would have just dropped at this point because it's not doing anything, like with Tekken Ball, as an example. They're not exactly trying to balance anything with Tekken Ball or do anything with the game mode because, frankly, no one plays it, so what's the point? But even though Ghosts kind of fall into that same category, it feels like every update are making some sort of adjustment to Ghost. That tells me that this is going to be something that when Tekken 9 comes, they really want to focus on. And I think that's cool. I think that Ghosts as a concept, I was saying this before Tekken 8 released as well, Ghosts as a concept, I think, is one of the single best things that any fighting game could do. And I'm glad that they are continuing to put resources into it, because whenever the next fighting game comes, if this has been really well adjusted and tuned and up to a point where it does feel indistinguishable from a real player, this is going to be one of the greatest advancements, not just in fighting games, but in video games in general. So hopefully they can continue adjusting it and get to a point where it is that, and it does really feel like if I'm playing against like Arslan Ash's Ghost, it's fair. It's maybe not indistinguishable. Maybe that would be going a bit too far, but it's similar enough to actually playing against Arslan Ash where you feel like you do get experience against the player. I would love to see that. That would be a huge thing for the future of fighting games. But again, you know, it's obviously not at that level in Tekken 8 yet, although I was kind of hoping it was before the game was released. And then, yeah, character art panels. So, before we get into the balance changes here, what I'm going to say, because people have been asking me about like this next patch and what it entails and then not being any more patches. Before I even read any of this, I need to reiterate to people, this doesn't mean that there aren't going to be any more balance changes in the future. After the Season 2 fiasco happened, they sat down, and I don't have insider info on this, but you can tell based on the patches. They sat down, they had a clear direction and directive for what they wanted to change with the game to fix the issues that people were having with it. And those things mainly revolved around one-sided situations where the defender didn't have enough options. You see that very clearly with heat engagers, right? Going from plus 17 to plus 9 means it's very rare for after a heat engager for there to be a force block situation. Whereas before, with it being plus 17, June's forward 1 plus 2, of course, was just a force block. There was no way to avoid it. Stuff like that has been toned down. Individual moves as well that were buffed a lot in Season 2, like Leo's while running 3, Leroy sidestep 30 plus 4. Moves like that put you in situations on block where you didn't have any clear counterplay. There was a very clear direction at the beginning of Tekken 8 Season 2 where they wanted you to use Power Crush more as a defensive mechanic. You see this after, say, Jin's while running 3, when he goes in the stance, you can Power Crush through all of the mid and high options. You can also see this with Elisa with her new DES down 2 and DES forward 1+2 into dual boot moves. You can sidestep right to option select all of the options. It depends on the character, of course. Sometimes against some characters, 1 or 2 moves she has will hit sidestep right. But for the most part, sidestep right is an option select to the further stance mix-up. The reason why a lot of people have complained about there being a lack of defensive options in Season 2 is purely because of a lack of matchup knowledge. It's a skill issue. Those options are there, and they have been there for the most part, but players haven't bothered to actually lab these situations and are just kind of complaining about everything, and it's unfounded. It's asinine, to say the least. But there were some situations, there were some characters that had moves where you didn't have clear counterplay. Like, again, after Leo's while running 3, for example, you could Power Crush through the launcher, the 2, but the 1 was fast enough with the plus frames after while running 3 that it beat Power Crush and it was a launcher. And, of course, the low did as well. And even though you can use Power Crush to beat the mid, the problem, or the mid launcher, the problem is that the other mid that causes the tailspin that Leo has is so strong that you couldn't use Power Crush. So you just didn't have the right defensive options, and that is what they have been toning down patch by patch by patch since that happened. It's been very consistent. Take it from the guy who has labbed all of this stuff and made videos on it. They have had a very clear design philosophy behind what they're doing, and they've been going down a certain path to fix this stuff. This is the last patch in that series of patches with that idea in mind. That means that from here on out, if they do balance patches, they do not have a clear direction on where they want to take the game and the characters. There isn't this idea anymore of trying to fix specifically these moves that cause one-sided situations on block. And so that means that even though there's not going to be a clear direction, that doesn't necessarily mean that they're not going to be doing any balance changes at all. So, let's continue on here. We've implemented further balance adjustments by continuing to improve the battle environment. This update includes ongoing adjustments that offer excessively high rewards. Ongoing adjustments to move with excessively high rewards. We've continued our efforts from version 2.01 update to adjust moves that offer disproportionately high rewards relative to the risk, as well as high performance moves that can easily create repeated advantageous situations and lead to one-sided outcomes. It's almost like I know what I'm talking about. They said exactly what I just said. And the Season 2 update, or one after it, maximum health was increased from 180 to 200, making it more common for characters to enter rage state with higher remaining health. As a result, there was more and they mentioned this as well, that they might adjust it because they didn't know if it was the right decision to change the percentage that your health has to be at in order to enter rage, because now obviously you have more health when you go into there. As a result, there were more situations where simple punishment like throws after blocking a rage out was no longer sufficient to secure, a KO. In this update, the frame advantage of rage outs on block has been changed from -15 to -18, enabling all characters to reliably punish with air combos. You remember when this was -13? I remember. Terrible decision that they made when making it -13. It frankly should have always been -16. But it being -18 makes sense. Regarding previously announced character buffs, as announced in the previous patch notes, we originally planned to implement buffs for several characters that would have minimal impact on the overall balance. However, after careful consideration, we decided to limit the scope of this adjustment to Devil Jin only. that is a wild sentence. We decided to limit the scope of this adjustment to Devil Jin only. That's how you know it's rough out there. Wow. That is something. Considering that several major esports tournaments will take place in August, the update scheduled for August is not expected to include any balance adjustments. Following that, we continuing to plan delivering small-scale updates focused mainly on bug fixes and on minor balance adjustments. And there you go. That's exactly it, right? Because they said at the beginning that design decision behind balancing into the future was going to be targeted balancing decisions when things are clearly issues, right? And so that's what they're going to do now that there's no clear direction on how they're going to do balancing. They're going to be minor balance adjustments when it's applicable and when it makes sense. I've been saying this for months and people haven't been listening to me, but this is there's never been a reason to get upset about it or to doom post about it or fearmonger about it, because this is how it's always been. If you've been paying attention, they've been saying this, and I hope that this is finally going to get the message across that balance updates are not going to just end after this patch. So anyway, let's get into the patch notes now. So this is all the stuff we just read. Various stuff has been changed. Rage Out, opponent's recovery time, throw break, a bug where multiple throws could be escaped simultaneously through specific inputs has been corrected. I've never heard of that. That's interesting. Elisa dual boot forward 1+2. The opponent's recovery time when blocking has been reduced by 5 frames, and the advantage on block has been changed from -7 to +7 to +4. This makes sense because, like I was saying before, with Elisa's forward 1+2 into dual boot, the way that it's intended for you to option select it is sidestep right, but the problem is that some characters would still get clipped by certain moves that Elisa does. Like Yoshi, for example, can sidestep Elisa's dual boot forward 2 afterwards, but other characters like, I think, Victor will get hit by it. So maybe Elisa did, and I don't remember exactly off the top of my head. I don't know the specific situation for every character. I don't really play Elisa anymore. But this makes sense, right? So this isn't supposed to be a balance change that's supposed to allow you to, like, float her out of stance or something, because she still has dual boot 3, right? And if you try jabbing her to float her, then you're just going to counter hit launcher, or you're just going to get counter hit launched because it high crushes. This is probably intended to make the sidestepping situation more consistent without changing any of the properties on the actual moves in dual boot, because changing the properties on, like, dual boot 3, for example, making it less linear is going to remove some oaky setups that you can do with Elisa in boot and dual boot. Even back in Tekken 7, you could go into boot when the opponent is on the ground, they tech roll in the right situations, then dual boot 3 would hit them on the tech roll even though they're off axis. It's just part of how Elisa's Oki kind of works. So adjusting those individual moves in dual boot, and therefore with at least dual boot 3 boot as well, would also stop those situations from occurring, which would be outside of the scope of what this change is intended to do. So this is a good change. I think that this is a good way to approach it, and it allows the counterplay to be consistent across the cast, which it should be. 2 on hit or block 2. The tracking capability of the second hit has been enhanced, mitigating the occurrence of whiffing midway through. Sure. Dual boot 3. No pay being triggered during the later part of the attack's active frame, so the behavior has been fixed to align with the intended specifications where low parry didn't occur. Perfectly fine with that. It's -14 anyway, so except the tip range. And then during evasive action 1, modified the opponent's behavior when hit from behind. Now that's interesting, because the way that it works when you hit them from behind is they do this dinky little flip, and they kind of stay exactly where they're at. So I wonder, or maybe I'm thinking of how it was in Tekken 7. I honestly can't remember, but maybe they're going to make it so it wall spots or something. I don't know. I don't think it's going to make too much of a difference for the most part, but evasive action 1 is a lot of the time when this move is hitting, it actually is going to hit back turned. So this is a little bit more significant than it might seem on the surface. Honor, down back 4 has been changed from +8 to +6. This is something I'm going to have to lab to see specifically what this might change afterwards, because I don't know what this move is. I'm assuming that it's a low just based on the input, but I'm not 100% sure what this actually does. So I'm going to have to lab this later and see, maybe for the anti-character video, on how significant this is. While rising 1-2, input window has been reduced for the second hit by 4 frames. This is great. You can't hit confirm this anymore. And I'm sure this wasn't intended to be hit confirmable in the first place. So this is a really good change. Hammer chance 2-1-2. went from +6 to +2. Really good change there. Attack hitbox has been reduced to mitigate unintended occurrence of hitting opponents who are behind you. Reversal break effect has been removed. That's also pretty good. I wonder if that means, can you power crush through the third hit then if you block the high? I don't know. I want to say that you can, but I don't remember. But either way, the reversal break effect was pretty bad, and so removing that is a good thing. I'm happy with that. Hammer chance 1+2. The opponent's recovery time when blocking has been reduced by 4 frames, and the advantage on block has been changed from +6 to +2. Now, that's also an interesting one. And it's a little bit different than the 2-1-2. Because utilizing hammer chance is a really important part of Ana's toolkit. And I don't think that making it +6 to +2 is really fixing the issue. I think the issue with this move more was the chip damage. Oh, and they did reduce the chip damage from 12 to 6. So I don't know. This is an interesting one. I think that the other thing that this does, though, which thinking about more is good, is that it stops her from being able to frame trap this into her Magic 4 move. I think it's up forward 1. But I don't know how to feel about this change, to be honest with you. I think that being able to manually go into the stance and use this move and it's just +6 and does so much chip damage, it was a little bit too good, not knowing much about the character before. But I think this might be actually a little bit too much. But also, don't take what I'm saying as gospel, because I don't know this character in this matchup really well. I don't know where she is balance-wise. I know people are saying she's top 5 or whatever, but I don't know. So I'm not going to say that she's top 5 or even that she's strong, because I simply don't know the character and don't know the matchup. So, with people that are more astute with the matchup or maybe even play the character, you're probably going to have a better view of this than I do. But I don't know. I feel like this might be a little bit too much. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe there's stuff that she can do with the +2 that I just don't know about. I know that she gets the like the 2 counter hit into heat engagers, so maybe that's the intention, is that you just threaten with that now instead of being able to, oh yeah, that makes sense, being able to do that instead of going into down forward 1-2 as a frame trap or something and then go in the stance. So sure. During Chaos Judgment, take low from attack from opponent to nail is now triggered upon airborne hit. Sure. While running 3-2 and during heat while running 3-2, expand the hurt box, alleviating situations where certain attacks would whiff. Sure. Sidestep 1+2, the distance from the opponent on hit or block of the first hit was reduced in order to alleviate whiffing midway through. Tracking ability of the second hit has been enhanced on hit or block of the first hit, mitigating the occurrence of whiffing halfway through. Sure. Good. Consistency stuff. Love to see it. And then an issue was fixed while you would get the wrong move when doing this. All right. So Ana changes. I'm not very familiar with the character. I don't know the matchup very well. I don't know the character very well. So I'm not going to say anything in regards to how she is strength-wise, because frankly, I don't know. For all I know, she's like a mid-tier character and people are overreacting when they say that she's top 5, like people do with Lidia. But I think that, for the most part, these changes are good. I think that, obviously, while rising 1-2 was a problem, being able to hit confirm it, so that's good. I think that the risk-reward on 2-1-2, in theory, was proportional, so I understand where this comes from, but it feels really bad when you're in situations where, like, you're trying to duck the high so that you aren't put in that -6 situation, and then you get hit by the -14 mid and then take, like, 50 damage. If anything, I think the real problem is that you get the guaranteed damage off of the mid and not so much this move. I feel like it would make more sense if the mid was changed so that it wall splats, but it doesn't give you the guaranteed, like, rocket launcher follow-up in neutral. I think that would address the problem a little bit more, because I think that's actually the issue. The issue is with the second hit ducking this or not, and not so much the +6 situation on the third hit. But regardless of all of that, I think that they are trying to fix the things that are problems with her, and that's good. So I don't have too many complaints. I just think that these 2 changes might not be focusing on what the real issue with these are. But regardless, let's move on. Oh yeah, and then there's some other stuff that I think should be changed as well with her. Like being able to hit confirm her Magic 4 again, the up forward 1, that just also feels really weird that you can do that with her, and it gives her so much reward. But anyway, moving on. So Oscar, the hold Rayjot is now -13. Oh my god. Thumbnail face. Let me get the microphone out of here real quick so I can get thumbnail face. Oh my god. All right. Well, that is Yeah, I don't know how to feel about this. Because the counterplay is just sidestep left block. So, and that avoids the charged version. If she does the uncharged version, then she gets launched anyway. It does feel bad if you try sidestepping on read that she's going to hold it and they just do it immediately, sure. But I don't know. It's strange because this should be the case, but at the same time, I'm looking at, I'm thinking, did they need to make it -13 though? I don't know. Either way, Naniwa Gusto up forward 1-2, change the opponent's behavior on hit. I'm sure the intention behind this is to remove the guaranteed follow-up. We'll have to go in game and also see if this stops the wall spot or not. But you could basically do a full combo after this hit, and that was obviously unintentional. I don't know why it took him this long to actually nerf it, but sure. During forward 2+3, back to 1+4. That's a weird series of inputs. Fix the bug where an unintended move would be triggered when inputting a technique. I've actually seen this before in a replay, where the Oscar player did, and it said in the input history forward 2+3, and they got forward 2. Funny stuff. Down back 1+2. So this is the low parry move. Adjusted the collision with the opponent to reduce instances of character swapping positions. And then Oscar's parry here fixed the bug where it was incorrectly triggered as counter hit. Sure. It's fine. Really the only, well, I mean, the Rayjot change is something, but I think that the Rayjot is just something nice that Oscar had, wasn't, her strength and viability didn't hinge on her having this Rayjot thing. Really, what is the big thing Oscar has right now is this. So seeing how this second hit changes with the opponent on hit is going to be the real big thing now. Because if this, for example, doesn't cause a wall splat or it doesn't knock down anymore, and it just has the same hit effect as it does when you're not in the Naniwa Gusto state, that would be a huge nerf. So we'll see. Azucena, there was a bug fix, so you could avoid the second hit when the first hit lands. Damn, Azucena is trash, bottom 5 character, awful, can't believe I'm still playing this character. Put me on Fakumram. I have no idea how to pronounce this, I'm so sorry. Adjusted collision detection to mitigate issue of unintentionally being able to evade the opponent's attacks. This has been a problem since she was released. So before they changed the frame data on this, if Lidia tried doing Power Crush with her, when you had the read that she was going to do this, Azucena would actually just go under the Power Crush. I was playing against Fusion a couple of days after the season 2 release, and that happened, and he said to me later that he did not expect that to happen. I think it was the only mid Power Crush in the game that this just went under. But yeah, this has been a problem since the beginning. It's nice that it's fixed. Anyway, Azucena, dead character. And then the back turn face, the back turn 2, now it will transition to a throw even if hit off axis. Okay. Brian Heat Smash. Opponent's recovery time when blocking has been reduced and is now +9 instead of +15. Good change. Yeah, that means that if Brian does like back 1 or something, you can power crush through. You can sidestep it actually, so that's good change. Snake Eye 3+4 2. Opponent's recovery time when blocking has been reduced and is now gone from -1 to -9. Should have always been the case, frankly. Reduce knockback distance when the attack is blocked. Change the opponent's behavior upon hit. Ooh, that means this isn't going to wall splat anymore. Oh, wow. So if your back is to the wall against Brian, I'm assuming that's what this means. And you try sidestepping for the charge attack, and you get it wrong, you don't die on the spot. Good change. Brian is already a menace at the wall, so giving him one less thing that makes him a menace isn't going to hit him that hard, but it's going to be really nice when playing against him to feel like you don't just lose on the spot for your back being to the wall. So good stuff. Moving on. Clive, down 1. Increase the distance to the opponent on hit. I wonder if that means that you're not going to be able to frame trap into this anymore with... No, because front crouch down forward 2 has so much range. It depends on the knockback distance, because the only way I can see this really being consequential, maybe if you like try crouch canceling into another down 1, but I don't know what this does, because it's not going to increase the knockback so much that you can't do Wild Rising 4, Wild Rising 1 plus 2 after, so... Weird. Wild Rising 3, reduce knockback distance when the attack is blocked. Yeah, so like at the wall, you could do Wild Rising 3, and it would just push you so far that the opponent can't punish, so now this is just going to be punishable. During heat, forward 2-2-1. If your opponent on block has been changed and is now gone from +2 to -9, this doesn't make any sense, because you can just sidestep this right, and then the mid follow-up with the right timing, you can sidestep right the 1, and then block the 2. Sorry, the heat engager follow-up. So with the right timing, you can just option select this entire mix already. And uncharged, by the way, you can step this uncharged. So I really don't understand why they're making this -9. You already took a big risk getting launched for doing this, and now it just kind of doesn't do anything. So there's no reason to use this move anymore against someone who actually knows the matchup and doesn't just complain about, Clive's an anime character, I hate him, he has a sword. 4-2-2-1 hold is now +11 instead of +13. This, I think, makes sense, not being able to get the heat dash follow-up anymore after the charge with the guard break. And it's consistent with what we've seen with Yoshimitsu's changes in Season 2 as well, so that's fine. But yeah, this change, and then what's the last one? Expand the hurt box. So alleviating issues with low attacks with whiff, sure. Yeah, this doesn't make any sense to me. This one I think is fine. I don't know what's going on with this. This change is just dumb. It's frankly dumb, and it's a byproduct of people complaining about this character and not bothering to learn the matchup. I'll stand by the fact, as someone that got this guy to God of Destruction on, what, day 2, day 3, and then never touched him again because I hate playing him. And I think he's boring. This character is not as strong as people make him out to be. He's like mid-tier at best. And the reason why people complain about him is because, one, they haven't played any off fighting game in their life where there are zoners, so they don't know how to deal with core circle forward 1, which is the most, like, awful baby shit zoning tool I've ever seen in my life. You should play against Justice and Plus R, I swear to God. Fuck, play against Ivy. Full screen command grabs, anyone? But then, like, besides that, it's just not bothering to lab matchup because no one plays his character, and then just complaining about why I lost because he's a good character, and it's not because it's a skill issue, and I haven't bothered learning the matchup. And I feel like this is just a byproduct of that. It's just a little slap on the wrist that doesn't really change anything, but it's to appease people that are saying that he's broken when really he's not, and he's just okay. So, whatever. Moving on. Devil Jin got buffs. Wild Rising 2 is now 14... Devil Jin now has a 14-frame launcher from crouch. I am going like this because, now that means that Devil Jin can launch Lidia's Wolf 4. This is where you're laughing at me because I haven't seen the Lidia changes yet, and you're going, oh, Seth, just you wait. By the way, I'll zoom in on this so maybe you can... Nope, that doesn't work. Never mind. Okay. Hitbox of the second attack has been expanded downwards. You can now use Wild Rising 3 with crouch dash. 3+4. That, I don't know how much that's really going to change. I'm having trouble even remembering what Wild Rising 3 is. Is it not some sort of counter hit mid tool? Oh god, I don't know. I never see this character. And then in heat, the house loop tracking capability has been enhanced, mitigating an occurrence of whiffing partway through. Yeah, maybe it's for the best then that they limited the buffs to just Devil Jin, because this is game-changing. Devil Jin having a 14-frame Wild Rising launch. Now, if they think that this is a minor balance change, then they're out of their goddamn minds. This is a crazy buff. And one that, frankly, I don't think he needs. So I don't know why this is okay. It's like you already have to deal with all of his really strong mids because you have like up forward 4 and Demon Paw and stuff like that. And obviously in the context of Tekken 8, those things are really good. On top of having the launching house sweep, on top of having the house sweep in heat, and now if you dare when taking your turn do a low, then he just kills you on block. Yeah, no, this is an awful change. I don't know why they would do this. This is terrible. Normally I've been pretty like happy with the changes for the most part, but this is dumb. This is really stupid. Any back 1-4 tracking capability. The second hit has been enhanced when landing the first hit. Tracking capability. The second attack has been enhanced exclusively when the first attack connects. And then expand the hurt box. Sure. Consistency stuff, all good. Forward 1+2 hold is now plus 11 instead of plus 12. Sure. I don't think that really does anything because Feng's shoulder is 13, right? I'm pretty sure it is. If it's 12 frames, then obviously that's the thing it changes, but I'm pretty sure his shoulder is 13. I might be wrong. I might be confusing it with someone else. Regardless, that's fine. Up forward 1, modified to the move to ensure it can't be defended against with attack reversal. An attribute commonly assigned to airborne attacks has not been set, so it's been corrected. Sure, no one's using this move anyway. While rising 1-3, this is the heat engager. And they fixed the bug. Sure. Quarrong 2-4-3 bug has been fixed. See, I was about to say, oh god, they finally nerfed this. No, a bug has been fixed where the damage of the second hit was lower than intended. You're out of your goddamn mind. Lower than intended? We buffed it. It was you thought that the 10 frame counter hit that already did what, like 90, 100 damage was actually, nah, that was a bug. So we need to fix that. God damn it. I hate this guy. Left Flamingo back 4-3. The tracking capability second hit has been enhanced when landing the first hit, mitigating the occurrence of whiffing midway through. Sure, who cares? Jack 3-2. Tracking capability the second hit has been enhanced when landing the first hit. Tracking performance has been strengthened, blah, 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 blah. Jin, a bunch of stuff fixed the bug where they would fail to execute when you did the right command. Okay. June 4-2, unblock 1+2. Tracking capability, the second hit has been enhanced. Genjutsu 4, hitbox has been expanded downwards. And then during heat and Genjutsu 1+2, the amount of Cosmo Essence gained on hitting an airborne opponent was incorrect. And now it's corrected. Great. King, down back 1+2-2. After hitting point, down back 1+2-2. When the opponent's attack was absorbed, the reversal break property was not functioning as intended. And an issue has been corrected where the hitbox of the attack was wrong. Okay. Hits, Kuma Heat Smash. The attack hitbox in collision with the opponent have been expanded upwards. Great. Heat Burst. Collision detection with the wall has been adjusted to mitigate issues of whiffing in the attack near the wall. Gee, I hope they do that with Lidia's 1-2-2. Issue has been corrected while inputting forward during the stop animation could unintentionally cancel the attack portion. That's strange, but doesn't really matter. Power Crush. Hitbox has been expanded upwards. Tracking performance while observing the opponent's attack has been enhanced. Forward 1+2. Hitbox has been expanded to make it less likely to whiff against the opponent's down state. Man, we're getting close to Lidia, and I'm starting to get a little bit nervous. Although there haven't really been any substantial nerfs, but I'm saying here, like, please don't nerf Wolf 4. Please don't nerf Wolf 4. She legitimately needs it. I don't care what people say. They're wrong. Heat Smash. The opponent's behavior on block was adjusted. Sure. Law Heat Smash. Fix an issue where I'm getting so anxious right now. Fix an issue where stage gimmicks didn't activate correctly. Fix an issue where follow-up moves would not be correct. Leo fixed an issue where, like, we're right now with the calm before the storm. It's just like fix an issue, fix collision, blah, 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 blah. And then we're gonna get to Lidia, and it's like, nerf, 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 nerf. Anyway, fix an issue where after an attack hits, opponents could perform a specific input to crouch and evade follow-up. High attacks earlier than intended. Back 1+2 adjusted the collision detection by expanding the collision upward, making it more difficult to slip under a floating opponent. Oh my god, Leroy. I'm getting... Every time I scroll down, I'm getting nervous. I'm gonna have to go slower. Fix so that the attack doesn't trade with the opponent when it whiffs. Cool, okay. Leroy. 2-1-2, fix an issue after the second hit land. The third attack could be crouch and evade by an opponent with an unnaturally early timing. Sure. Distance from the opponent has been reduced with the 6-hit connects. Sure. Distance to the opponent after the first hit was reduced and the hitbox of the second hit was expanded downwards to alleviate an issue. Sure. I'm not, these are just going all over my head because Lydia's, I think, up next. Lidia. Okay. Wolf 4. Reduce the opponent's recovery time by 3 frames on hit, adjusting frame advantage from +8 to +5. So this means that 1 frame link forward 2 will no longer be Power Crush. This is a huge nerf. This is actually like an unbelievable nerf. Would I rather it be this or be -15? That's a great question. I think I'd rather it be -15, to be honest with you. Because, yeah, this means that now, after the Wolf 4, you can't, like, continue your offense, as well as you could before. Because the +8 situation means as long as you have the execution, you can beat through Power Crush with forward 2. Now forward 2 will beat through Sidestep. And even then, it won't beat Sidewalk left. The +5 is a really weird number for him to keep it at instead of +6. I guess where this kind of comes into play is that you can also jab her out of down back 3 and it won't trade. Or, well, down jab because they're in a crouching state, which is also pretty bad. But if you link into forward 2, then it works. So 1 frame link is still important here. Because if, like, down forward 2 trades with down jab, I actually don't know if you get a launcher out of it. Theoretically, I feel like you don't, but I'm not sure. I'd have to lab the situation. Like, +5 isn't normally a number that Lidia is at. But it does mean if you 1 frame link the forward 2, then it beats down jab. So it's a weird case, actually, where the high execution is still rewarding. And this tells me that that's intentional. They want to encourage high execution with the 1 frame link forward 2, which is cool. And I'm glad to see that because I've been practicing that a lot since after the Wolf 4 since Season 2 because being able to 1 frame link to beat Power Crush is super important. But now that the opponent can just heat burst after Wolf 4 on hit, while simultaneously half the characters can launch punish it, I don't know. The more I think that this is better than making it -15 from -14, but God, it feels bad in the matchups, like when you're playing it's Jin, where they have a 14 frame while rising launcher. It feels terrible. It already felt just okay in those matchups because you got the forward 2 afterwards, but now it's just like, man. It's not the end of the world, though, because forward 2 still beats everything in heat, right? So, except for Sidewalk now. Because it beats Sidewalk before at +8, now it doesn't. So, I don't know. It's a weird situation where, on one hand, I think that, yes, opponents should have counterplay options, and that's good that they do. But on the other hand, the way that Lidia shut down those defensive options was super high execution, 1 frame links, right? So, it's not like a situation like, I don't know, let's just say Fakiram's God Break, right? Where he's just like at +13, there's nothing you can do about it, he hits a button, bada bing, bada boom. No, if you like try doing Heat Burst afterwards, then unless Lidia has super high execution, then you're going to stop all of her offense. So, I don't know. On the other hand, though, the high execution is still incentivized because, again, the forward 2 beats down jab, down forward 2 doesn't. Have to see what that situation is like on trade. I think the real problem is that this creates a mix-up situation where down jab beats down back 3 and Power Crush beats everything else besides down back 3. So that's where it becomes a little bit muddied. I don't know. It's a really weird thing. I don't know. I really don't. I think that it would have made more sense to make it +6 instead of +8. That's what I would have done if I was going to go down this route. I know people were complaining about it. I think that the complaints were somewhat warranted, but I think on the other hand, it's like she does actually need it. So at the very least, I'm glad they recognize that the low being minus 14 is something that she needs, and this is probably the best compromise between the two. So the more I talk about, the more I don't disagree with it, but I just can't help but feel like, man, this is going to feel super bad when I'm playing against Jin or Raven or now Devil Jin. So, yeah, I think this is just one of those moves when really no one wins. But I guess the other thing too is that this incentivizes you more to go in to get to have their nerf level 3, because this is only relevant at level 1 and 2. When you get to level 3, then it's just doing the same shit. So I guess that's another way to think about it. You can tell I have mixed thoughts on this. It's a good change. It's a good change, don't get me wrong. It just feels bad playing Lidia, but it's a good change. Hitbox has been expanded. Oh no, people are going to see this up arrow and then be like, where is Lidia getting buffed? She's broken. So the reason they're doing this is because core circle forward 4, forward 3, core circle forward 4. Well, and anything that's the core circle forward 4 move, since season 1, you've been able to sidestep left. And I wish that I had a video of this. Hold on, let me pull up my Discord real quick. Oh god, something is resting on my keyboard. Oh no. Oh, everything's going wrong. Let me see if I can find this for you guys, though. But basically, the problem is that core circle forward 4 actually wasn't a homing move, and it hasn't been since season 1. So I'm trying to pull up the Discord so that I can find the example that I recorded of it to show you, and I'm not finding it. Oh yeah, here it is. So here we go in our Discord. Again, you can tell this is season 1 because I'm not going into horse here after this, and you can see how Azucena just completely steps it. And you can do this consistently as well if you just jab the opponent. So like here's Zafina. There it is with the core circle forward 4, jab, sidestep, left, and a lot of characters could do this. So that's what this change is. It's really good that they changed this. Core circle forward 4 still isn't a very good move, though, to be honest with you, but it's nice that that's more consistent. Horse Stance 2, startup has been changed from 17 to 18 or changed from 17 to 17 to 18 to alleviate whiffing in certain conditions. So this is going to make being able to catch like sidestep duck more consistent, I suppose. And it's probably also because of the extra frame going to make it more consistent in combos, which is a thing that does drop off of certain floats and situations like that. So that's good. And then Cat 4, adjust the collision with the opponent to reduce instances of characters swapping positions. This is, I've never had this come up before, so I don't really know what they're changing there, but sure. Heat Smash, fix an issue where stage gimmicks did not activate correctly when the follow-up attack hits after the first attack is missed. I've never seen this come up before in whether it's season 1 or season 2. Fix an issue where when an attack whiff near the wall could unintentionally hit an opponent positioned behind the character. Yep, that's also been the case in season 1. I thought they fixed that, but they didn't. And that's it for Lidia. All right. We got away with murder. I know people are going to be complaining about this because they're going to say, is there up arrows? Oh my god, Lidia is top 1! Oh my god, why did Lidia get buffed? No, she got nerfed. Like, this has been a consistency thing that Lidia has had since season 1, and also core circle forward 4 isn't a good move, so this doesn't matter. And then horse 2 change is just going to make certain combos more consistent off of float situations. That's all this does. But the change to wolf 4 is actually a quite substantial change, because now forward 2 with the 1 frame link doesn't beat Power Crush anymore, so you have more defensive options after this hits. This is a really big change, and this is a really big nerf. I'm biased. I don't think I'd say this is the biggest nerf out of everyone. I think that probably goes to Ana. No, it definitely goes to Ana with the hit confirm while rising 1. But I think besides Ana, this is the biggest nerf in the patch. So, at least so far. So, there you go. That's my thoughts on it. But again, I think it's a good change. And I think it's actually addressing the problem instead of making a snapshot decision to make it minus 15, which wouldn't really be addressing the problem and just make the move feel bad for everyone. So, Lily, 3. Behavior on side and back here has been modified. Back-facing opponent, 1-2. In certain situations, near walls, an issue was mitigated where forward movement was unintentionally reduced. During heat 3+4, 3+4, hitbox of the fourth hit has been expanded. And then an issue where performing the move with specific inputs unintentional. Blah, 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 blah. Nina back 1+4. Opponent behavior after the first hit was adjusted so that they face the player. This adjustment was made to mitigate situations where after the first hit lands from the front axis misalignment caused the second hit to register as a side hit. Sure. No problem with that. I don't, like, I swear to God, them mocking these as buffs, they need to stop doing this because this isn't a buff. Come on. And people are going to be, oh my God, they buffed Nina. Stupid. Tekken players are dumb and they have no critical thinking skills at all. During heat back 1+2, 1+2. Tracking performance of the 6 hit has been enhanced, but only if the 5th hit lancer is blocked. Tracking both the 4th hit. Opponent's behavior in the 4th hit when hit during an air was adjusted. Sure. Paul back to 1 in the charge version. Opponent's behavior on hit has been changed, and the damage has been reduced from 35 to 27. I feel like this isn't really a... oh, well, maybe changing... No, because this is the second hit that's being changed, right? Not the first hit. I feel like this isn't actually addressing the issue. The issue is that this hits on the ground. This move needs to not hit on the ground. But sure. Raven, while crouching, down forward 3+4, fixed an issue where the follow-up attack that was not intended to activate would activate. Sure. Collision was adjusted on those. Sure. Heaven's Wrath, 3+4, has gone from +3 to 0. Sure. Fine. That's going to stop you from being able to frame trap with like down forward 1 or something. But again, this isn't really addressing the problem, right? Tracking ability to the second hit. The problem is down 2. That's I don't think that the issue is Heaven's Wrath 3+4. The issue is down 2. So I don't know why we're doing this, but whatever. Stealth step down forward 2. The move designed to strongly track to the opponent's left side step was corrected to properly track as there were situations where it could be avoided by sidestepping left. Sure. Steve down forward 2. Incorrect frame advantage was displayed during transition. The ducking in was corrected. People are going to look at this and say that Steve was nerfed. Oh, Jesus. I hate Tekken players. Up back 2. Adjusted the collision detection by expanding the collision upwards. Sure. Victor forward 1+2. Expand the hitbox to reduce the occurrence of whiffing for certain moves. Sure. While running 1+2, the opponent's behavior on first hit counter hit was adjusted to reduce the occurrence of the second hit whiffing. Fine. Back 4-1. Tracking has been adjusted. Decrease the distance from the opponent mid-game whiffing combos. More consistency things is good. From crouch down forward 2. Expand the hurt box so that things won't whiff. Good. And then I guess finally, yeah, Zafina got a slew of changes here. So parry has gone from... The damage has been changed from 35 to 23. Since the follow-up attack triggered when absorbing an attack with Power Crush would sometimes trade with the opponent's attack, Power Crush properties will add to the follow-up attack as well. And I imagine this is because they maybe overlooked the follow-up with back 3 when the parry was successful, and that was doing too much damage, which I agree with. Back 1+2 is now 5 chip damage instead of 10. You remove the homing attack property. Oh. Huh. Okay. Interesting. It looks like a homing move though, doesn't it? So that's a little bit weird. But I feel like if you're using this as a keep out zoning tool, it's still going to be just as good. It's obviously going to make the move a little bit worse, but if the opponent's, you're not using this for the homing property a lot of the time. I mean, sometimes you are in okay situations, but a lot of the time you're using this in neutral as like a pseudo zoning tool. At least the closest thing that we get to zoning tools in Tekken. And the removing the homing property isn't really going to change that. It's like Lily's forward 4 in a lot of ways, right? Like, yeah, you can step it, but that doesn't come up a ton. It does come up, but it doesn't come up a ton. And then the follow-up on it is now +2 instead of +4. Sure, don't see much of an issue with that. I think that makes sense. And that is addressing really the problem and I think the main and only problem that we really have with Zafina, which is this move. So that's fine. Yeah, because at +2, she can... What can Zafina do off of +2? She could still do, like, 1, 2, and then counter hit confirm that in the 3, right? I'm pretty sure that she can counter hit confirm that. Might be wrong on that. Mantis down forward 1. Reduced knockback when it's blocked. Down forward 4. Status during the recovery period was changed to an airborne state so that the opponent's attacks would now trigger as airborne hits. Interesting. And Mantis Stance 2 finally fixed an issue where, when blocking the opponent's attack, the behavior that should have registered as a ground, it was incorrectly registered as airborne. And that's it. So I think that this is, again, doing more or less what I said. They had a clear design philosophy behind this. They're just trying to adjust the moves that had disproportional risk-reward or didn't give the defender enough options. You see that in stuff like Nina's Hammer Chance 1+2 and 2-1-2. You see that with Lydia's Wolf 4. And I think that there are still... I think the main issue now that they have to think about is risk-reward rather than the defender having options. And I think that they obviously are doing that with Lidia here. And Lydia's kind of been at the forefront of like proper Tekken balancing when it comes to that idea of risk-reward. Pretty much everything that Lidia does has appropriate and proportional risk reward. That's one of the reasons she's so hard to play, and one of the reasons why she isn't like a great tournament character. But I feel like there's a lot of other things that they need to change in that regard. I think there's a lot of other risk reward decisions that, even though you have the ability to like defend against what they're doing, the risk reward is very skewed in favor of the attacker. And that is something that I think that needs to be addressed going into the future. But for them, and some of these changes too, I think are a little bit weird. Like Deviljin getting a 14 frame while rising launcher, I think is unwarranted, and I don't see why. I don't think anyone was asking for that, including Deviljin players. And I feel like Deviljin players looking at us getting whiplash and going, why are we getting that? Some other things as well that I think just don't make a hell of a lot of sense and I think are really weird are, oh god, what was the one that was like down at the bottom here that I thought was weird? Oh yeah, like not addressing the actual problem. So like Reiner's Heaven's Wrath 3+4, the problem is down 2, so I don't know why they're trying to change this. Maybe this is a change that they had in the works for a long time and now they're getting out in this patch. But for the most part, now that we're done with these series of patches, I think that the game is in a much better spot than it was at the beginning of Season 1. I think that these were, for the most part, good changes, even if I think there were a couple of misses in here. And I think that as long as they keep this up and they keep making these adjustments and they keep making these nerfs and they keep changing the things that need to be adjusted, and they have a plan like they did for this series of patches going into the future for future patches, that this game is going to look really good when Season 3 comes around. But there's still a lot of work that needs to be done. But I think the game's in a fine state now. I think that this patch was fine. I don't think it was as good as like the one where they increased the health and they changed the properties on heat engager and stuff. But I think it was fine. If I was to rate this, I'd rate it like a 7 or an 8 out of 10. Just because there are a couple of things in here that make me scratch my head and go, why are they doing this? But yeah, I think it's overall fine. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I'm gonna get out of here now. Come by tomorrow where I'll have the video on my initial reaction to Falkenram up on here. I'm going to record that right after I go refill my water. But anyway, take care. I hope you have a great rest of your day. Bye-bye.